What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about the story of why this girl decided to leave her whole life behind and move to Norway. So, I don't know what it's like in Europe, but here in America, it would be very, very strange to just leave your home and move to another country. So today, I'm very interested in learning about why this person felt so compelled to move to Norway, of all the countries in the world. She left her home and wanted to move to Norway. So let's hear why. Let's take a look.
I decided to leave everything behind and move to Norway to live a life close to nature.
Oh, wow.
Today, I want to share really honest my personal story with you, how and why all that happened.
Okay. Okay.
I lived in Hamburg since I was 14, and I lived there in the middle of the city for 7 years.
Okay, so this is not an American. This is a European from Hamburg. So it's a little different, but she still decided to leave her home, her friends and family, and move to Norway. That's very extreme still. But she lives in Europe. She's a bit closer to Norway. I've never heard of an American that personally I know that has ever moved to Norway. So she lived in a big city. Okay.
These 7 years, I lived under constant inattention and stress, always asking myself, what the hell is wrong with me?
Oh.
It's hard to describe. Imagine you just step out of the door. There are people, they're talking, maybe looking at you, maybe don't even notice you. Traffic is passing by, loud noises, blinking lights everywhere.
Wow. So, oh my gosh. So she felt very troubled. Maybe depressed. I don't know. But she was in a big city and felt overstimulated, really.
Chest tightens, you can't breathe, you get scared, your mind gets blurry, you feel completely paralyzed, and you just don't know why, because somehow nobody else seems to experience it the same way you do.
Well, she also felt like no one else really cared, and that everyone else in Hamburg was pretty happy. So she was kind of unique in that she felt like this didn't feel like the place for her.
I guess we're all afraid of being excluded, being the strange one. So I learned to pull myself together and act as normal as I could. But at some point, I started to get panic attacks in crowded places. I suddenly fainted in class or in the subway, and I felt more and more depressed.
Wow.
I didn't want to go out anymore at all. I was afraid of people, and sometimes even going to the supermarket became a real challenge.
Wow.
During the whole time, I hated myself so much, always telling me I'm just not trying hard enough and struggling with the feeling of not fitting in and not belonging somewhere.
That's tough. That's really, really tough. I was trying to think what would push somebody to leave their home country and go to another country where they might not even speak the language. It's completely different. This I understand. She really felt like she had nothing going for her in her home country. Oh.
The first time I traveled to Norway was on a holiday to visit a friend. And the moment I stepped out of the plane, something happened.
Oh.
There was this cold wind in my face. I heard people talking in Norwegian, and suddenly I had this strong feeling of being home.
Oh, see, that's the really nice thing about living in Europe. She visited Norway on vacation, and that's not that big of a deal when you live in Europe. So she kind of got exposed to Norway, and instantly had a connection, even though it's cold. That's one of the first things she felt was like, oh, it's cold. But maybe she likes that. And obviously beautiful.
I stayed at this beautiful place called Dream Valley with
Wow.
my now dear friend Tina and her 9 horses.
Wow.
A small farm surrounded by endless forests and mountains.
Oh.
I didn't even know it is possible to live like that.
I wonder what part of Norway this is in. But either way, this is a Norwegian who lives really out in the middle of nowhere with a bunch of horses on a farm, tons of land, very, very, very peaceful with the just the natural beauty of Norway around and not many people. Are there a lot of Norwegians who live like this? Out on your own, kind of secluded, or I know there's a lot of little towns and cities in Norway, but I guess some people just live out sort of on their own with nobody around.
This simple life, down to earth, together with the animals, touched something deep inside of me. And in the moment I was sitting in the plane back to Germany, I knew I had to come back.
Huh?
And that is what I did as often as I could.
Wow.
And all the time when I was sitting in my apartment in Hamburg, I was dreaming about the special sound of silence,
Huh?
the feeling of space,
Yeah.
the clean, fresh air,
Yeah.
the smell of the forests, and the tranquility of a freezing, deep, dark winter landscape.
Oh, she actually likes the dark winter landscape. Huh. Maybe she really was meant to be Norwegian if you actually enjoy that. I think most Norwegians just tolerate it. I don't know if you actually enjoy the freezing cold and darkness, but that's great. So she immediately identified so many amazing things about Norway. So many things that we don't have in America that Norwegians have that really make life happy, better. A lot of it has to do with the nature. I know Norwegians are very big on connecting with nature and the outdoors. I know that's very important. And she kind of discovered that that's very, very important for her as well. Oh, wow. Pretty beautiful. Yep. Like, it's. I don't know. I don't know how you describe it other than like peaceful. Peaceful. Very artistic.
So, right after I finished my studies, I packed my things again and traveled back to Dream Valley. I didn't had a plan, but already after 1 week, I suddenly woke up in the night and I knew I will not go back to Germany. Do you
Wow.
know these kind of decisions? When you just know. You don't have to analyze the pros and cons. Will you do it? Will you not? You just know.
Wow. Wow. I mean, it's like Norway literally called her soul, called her to live there. She just decided to go to Norway and never go back home.
Since then, I stayed in Dream Valley for another year,
Huh.
built myself a little home on wheels, and traveled other areas of this beautiful country
Wow.
together with my 2 most loved beings.
Wow. So it actually looks like she lives out of her car, actually, which sounds like a really cool way to explore Norway. If you're gonna live out of your car and travel, Norway might be the perfect country to do that. That's a really cool sort of road trip. Oh wow. Oh, reindeer? Oh. Oh. And their dog.
Last autumn, we ended up in a sweet little house in the Norwegian countryside.
What? Look at this. This is so cool. I wonder how much something like this costs. Like, oh my god, look at where they are. That is an awesome house just in the middle of the Norwegian countryside. Middle of nowhere. Just with all like a forest and mountains, and that is really cool.
This is more I could ever wish for. Just us together, sitting by the fire, living a simple life, not having much and not needing much.
Wow.
Just doing what we love and working really hard on bringing our next big dream into life.
Wow. What a nice home. And what a beautiful scenery as well. So, man, they're German. I wonder, did they have to get Norwegian citizenship, like immigrate? They actually bought a home and everything.
After such a long time, I finally feel I can slowly let go of this tension I was holding all the time and just breathe. I still don't know why I experience everything like that. I read all the books about hypersensitivity, therapeutic techniques, meditation, grounding strategies, and self-development. And I think it's great to keep improving and growing, but not out of a state of there is something wrong with me which I need to fix.
True. Well, clearly she has had some issues, some things to work through. And it's kind of funny how just the country of Norway literally like healed her. Norway is special. Norway has powers.
I am not broken, and neither are you. We all have different struggles in life, things that maybe have hurt us or a pain that we are carrying. And we live in a society where things like that are not really like to be seen, where being happy, motivated, successful, and in the best case, spiritual enlightened is almost the biggest status symbol.
Well, and I guess what is the lesson from all this? Is like what is the lesson if you're feeling depressed, if you feel like you don't belong, move to Norway. Is that the lesson?
But life has both sides, and sometimes there is just darkness, and we don't have an answer. And you know what? That is okay. We don't have to.
That's right. All you got to do is move to Norway. Wow.
So the biggest relief for me was to surrender, to accept. To accept that I feel how I feel and that the things are how they are. When we are stopped fighting or judging in either way, we can suddenly see everything out of a neutral perspective. And out of a neutral perspective, we are able to choose. We can choose to create ourselves a life that serves us. An environment where we feel safe and loved and where we can grow into our best version, whatever that means to you.
I mean, she might be German, but she has a very Norwegian kind of attitude about her, actually. Acceptance, like working through things and accepting that having problems is normal. She seems to love nature, and connecting with nature has really helped her as a person. She has a lot of like Norwegian qualities to her, I think.
And even if for you it's also not matching with any common idea of how that should look like. So when somebody asks me why I moved to Norway, I always tend to answer, well, I just like it here a lot. It's a beautiful country with all the nature, But I guess I finally had to tell the real story. It was so much more than that. It was life-saving.
Life-saving? That's pretty amazing. Moving to Norway really saved her life, changed her life. And she really ended up moving to a very secluded part of Norway. So it was really almost like the nature, like Norwegian nature, that connected with her the most. Oh, yeah. That is such a cool house. And they have a lake. How much does this cost? Like, can you just find a random house in Norway by the mountains and the like? I guess what I mean is here in America, it's very rare to have a lake and mountains and forest. It's very rare. So it's very expensive. I guess in Norway it's more common. So I guess that's how it's possible. Does everybody in Norway just have a lakeside cabin and with by mountains and trees? Like, is this just normal? Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, there you have it. That's a really cool story. Um, and I don't know, it kind of just shows how amazing Norway is as a country. The people as well, which I've learned about, but also just, I don't know, this was almost like her connecting with the Norwegian country, nature. Like, I wish she had talked a little bit about her acclimating to the culture and the people a little bit. That would have been interesting, but this was just like her trying to find the most peaceful, beautiful place. And she, according to her, that's Norway, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I just thought this would be a really fun story to hear about why someone would just move their entire life to Norway. And now it makes a lot of sense to me. So this was actually really cool. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on what makes Norway special, why people move to Norway. Yeah, that'd be really cool to hear about. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and learning about Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.